Here's the big idea. Your purpose can make you miserable when you're not living it. Purpose unrecognized, purpose unfulfilled, purpose ignored will make you miserable because God does not want you to settle in life, especially for somebody else's purpose. Here's the big idea. Your future is bigger than you realize. Your future's so big. And I want you to say this with me. Are you ready? God created me on purpose for a purpose. Say that again. God created me on purpose for a purpose. Say it again. God created me on purpose for a purpose. Now look at somebody and say, God created you on purpose for a purpose. Here's what that means. There is no such thing as an oops baby. There's no such thing as an accident. Well, we didn't plan that one. God planned it. God had a purpose and a plan, gave it a name while it was in its mother's womb, and said, I've called you to be a prophet to the nations, and it's not even been born yet, but God had a purpose for it. You are not an accident. Don't let anybody tell you you're an accident. You were created on purpose for a purpose. God doesn't make mistakes. So how do we play Clue? If you've never played Clue before, it may take you a second to figure out how to play this game. So you got your board, and there's these little boxes all over the board, and then around the board there's these rooms, and I got to go in these rooms, and then there's the weapons the crime was committed with, and then you get character cards and all this stuff, and I got to figure out the who, the what, and the where that's inside that envelope. So I thought, well, how do you play Clue? And I looked up how to win at Clue. So this Thanksgiving, I'm gonna prepare you how to blow all your family out of the water. You're gonna win at Clue, follow these simple instructions, and you're gonna be the champion of Clue. Here we go. Number one, if you wanna win at Clue, figure out your opponent's cards. So everybody else has cards. There's one card or three cards that nobody has because they're inside that envelope. If I wanna win, I have to figure out what cards my opponents are holding. Guess what? You've got an opponent. Jesus said you've got an enemy called the devil who came to steal, kill, and destroy. But I've come that you may have life and have it more abundantly. So you got to figure out, you know what? The devil's holding some cards today, and you need to figure out what cards the devil is holding. Let me tell you some of his cards. His cards are the enemies of your purpose. Here's card number one, the card of comparison. If you want to win, if you want to find your purpose, you better figure out what the enemy is trying to get you to compare your purpose against. You cannot compare your assignment to anybody else's assignment. Because when you get to heaven, God is not going to judge you whether or not you were as good as that person. God is going to judge you based on whether you did what he told you to do. So it doesn't matter if God asked them to write a book and they sell 10 million copies. God asked you to write a book and you sell one. When you go to heaven, all God's gonna say is, did you write the book? I don't care how many you sold. I wanna know, did you write the book? But we live in an Instagram, a Facebook, a Twitter, a TikTok, a LinkedIn, all these other social media, and they only exist to get you to constantly compare your life, your purpose, and your happiness against everybody else. Guess what? Everybody else that's posting on Instagram is miserable just like you are. Stop comparing your purpose against theirs and go out and do what God called you to do. And don't worry, is anybody, I don't know if stop worrying about it. Just do what God called you to do. The card of comparison. Card number two, you got to learn that the enemy is carrying the card of confusion. If he can't get you to compare your purpose, he'll get you confused about your purpose. So he'll get you to go through life and I don't know what I'm called to do. I don't know what I'm anointed to do. I don't know what I'm gifted to do. But guess what? If it's confusion, God's not in it. The Bible says God is not the author of confusion, but where there is confusion, there is every evil work because the devil is the author of confusion. So if you are doing something right now and all it's doing is bringing confusion into your home, God is not the author of it. I don't care how much money you're making. God is not the author of confusion. That's the enemy's card. Card number three, this is a tough one, counterfeit. If I can't get you with comparison, if I can't get you with confusion, then I will pull out a card that is really similar and close to your purpose, but is not your purpose. And I'll slide that counterfeit card and use it against your life. This is what the enemy did with Adam and Eve. He shows up to Eve and he says, do you want to be like God? Eat the fruit. And God's sitting there going, you're already like me. Why are you going to eat the apple when you're already made in my image and likeness? The apple is just a counterfeit of what I've already given you. Don't fall for the counterfeit. This is the enemy's card.